Hello to everyone in Australia who might be up from Mercantile Rowing Club or Sydney University Boat Club, watching the men's pair here, the Silver Goblets and Nickalls Challenge Cup. And on the right-hand side, the crew from Romania.
I dare you to try and read through the club name. It's an impressive entry, isn't it? This Australian crew, because the Australian 8 and 4 have been doing very well, they put the top guys in the 8, haven't they, to race at this regatta to try and beat the Brits. And these guys are from the 8 that will race at the World Cup, aren't they? Or one of them is. Yeah,
that's right. It's been a bit of chopping and changing with the Australian crews. Campbell Watts in the bow seat of the pair. I think they're actually rode in the single scull in Linz.
So he's the spare, isn't he, at the moment?
Yes, that's right. And of course, as you mentioned, the World Championship men's and women's fours that won in Sarasota Bradenton last year, but also won at the second World Cup in Linz, have been put into the 8s just for the Henley Regatta.
And I think the stroke man, Nick Bowden from the UTS 4, is actually going out to be the spare as well now. I think he's joining them after this regatta.
A bit quicker off the line there in the Romanian crew on the right-hand side of your screen. It's the Romanian national pair. They finished 4th at the World Cup in Belgrade, but they didn't race at the second World Cup in Linz. Just moving off their station here towards the centre of the course. They'll have to watch what they're doing.
Yeah, that's pretty... Nobody's interfered with each other, but not very straight, and that's not great for their platform to generate some good boat speed. But coming up to the end of the island, nothing in it. It's great. In fact, the Romanians are probably slightly ahead of the Australian pair.
They're locked together here, and no doubt the Australian rowing team currently over in Varese preparing for World Cup 3, watching this with great interest, along with the men's and women's 8s and Maddie Edmonds in the single scull. Hi to everyone there in Varese.
Look at the attack here, this Australian crew. You know, we've seen last year at the World Championships and in the last World Cup, the Australian Coxes 4 rating 40-41 the whole way down. And you can see this is something that's going on in what they're doing in their training. They just maintain that kind of aggressive rating and just not losing any boat speed and just moving away.
Yeah, we saw the Romanians just hit a little bit of dirty water. It's an incredibly difficult course. It's deceptive here on screen, but I can tell you it is incredibly difficult, particularly when you're in the pair. Very rolly. There's a lot of wash. We know it's only going to get worse over the weekend, which is kind of all part and parcel of the Henley Regatta. I mean, you can't begrudge it. That's what makes this regatta so exciting.
And also, not long after the end of the island, the boom appears, but then the booms disappear for a little bit, and actually you get washes coming through that you don't normally get. And especially in the Cox's pair, if you get the pair on the far side could miss that wash, and the pair on the near side could get it. But to be honest, the Australian pair they're making it look more simple, it's more aggressive, and they're just on top of it.
Angus Widdicombe, 23 years of age. He was in the Australian men's Cox pair at the World Championships last year in Sarasota that won silver to the Hungarians, who we saw just a few races ago. Campbell Watts, 22 years of age. He was in the 7th seat of the Australian men's 8 at the World Championships last year in Sarasota.
It's such a great thing about this regatta, isn't it? We've just had schoolboys, we've had international female athletes, international male athletes. People watch these crew go by and don't actually realise the calibre of racing they're seeing. These are world-class athletes competing at a great regatta.
But you don't see this anywhere else in the world. There is no other situation. Tom and I were talking about it a little earlier in the broadcast, that, you know, you'll have the Sinkovich brothers rigging their boat up next to you, or Mahé Drysdale walk past you in the boat park, and then you've got the St Paul's 8 and the schoolboys, and you have, I think we had in one of the earlier races, one of the oldest athletes at 52 years of age racing here.
From Cornwall, yes, that's right.
It's James Kerr, that's right, from Greenbank Falmouth Rowing Club, who raced in the Britannia Challenge Cup a little earlier, 52 years of age, which is incredible.
It is, it's great. And like you said, it's fantastic. When they're in the boating area, all the boats are all racked up. Every athlete is equal. They're all walking around. I'm sure some of the younger guys are completely idolising now with all the YouTube stuff. They see all this stuff all the time. They see the Sinkovich brothers training, and suddenly they're right next to them. And they probably are scared to, but they could very easily go up and speak to them. They're very friendly. Yeah, the Aussies doing good work here, steering a little bit. I'd kind of say at this level, I dare say it's a bit of gamesmanship, moving across to give a bit of wash. I'd do it if I was racing. As long as the umpire doesn't raise his flag, you're fine.
Yeah, exactly. There's probably a middle zone where the umpire will raise their flag to have you come back across to the correct side of the course, but there is a little bit of play in that, and certainly if you can send a bit of dirty water down to your competitors, then that's probably going to help your cause.
And the key thing is that when the umpire does put his flag up, you need to respect the commands of the umpire and to go back to your station. But here the Australians rowing really nicely, very clean. On top of it, the stroke rate is higher than the Romanians, but they're getting better boat speed for it.
Great shot there of the Romanian boat. Just not quite with the same connection out through the front end there.
It just looks rushed a bit, doesn't it? They're just short at the front end and blades aren't in the water for very long. It just doesn't look as fluid.
The Australian crew at the top of your screen. Angus Widdicombe, Campbell Watts, both based at the Georgina Hope Reinhardt National Training Centre. We actually have the men's program down in Canberra. They were out of the Reinhold boathouse, but of course one of Rowing Australia's major benefactors, Georgina Hope Reinhardt. She's been here at the regatta for the last 2 days, watching and very impressed with the quality of the racing. She was able to follow the women's 8 down in the launch, which she found really exciting, and she's already booked to come back again next year, and I think will come to the World Championships as well. So big supporter of Australian sport, but particularly the Australian rowing team, and great to see her here today.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it, the way Australian rowing, both the men and women's rowing, is really coming to a resurgence in the last couple of years. And I know there's been controversy with the centralisation of the rowing in Australia, and it's a big change. I mean, the British team did it 20 odd years ago, and the athletes didn't like it very much at the time, and it's very hard to take, but it's producing results, isn't it?
Look, we won the men's and the women's fours at the World Championships. Of course, several of the women's crews winning medals, the women's 8 winning a medal in Linz, the women's quad, on top of the women's 4 winning once again. So certainly on the women's side, we're seeing some strength that we haven't seen for many years, and the men's team also going from strength to strength. And the quality of the athletes and the performances and the consistency of the performances that they're having is really exciting, and it's great as someone who's obviously a part of that system to watch the resurgence of Australian rowing and to see the success of those training centres and of the centralised model.
It's great, isn't it? But I think it's a difficult place for athletes to train when it's centralised like that, because they do have to make a choice to opt out of their life a little bit to do this, to chase a gold medal. And I think there's a responsibility for people running those centres to appreciate that and make sure that it's a sustainable model for these athletes.
Absolutely, but also understanding that this is what sport is now, and this is what it takes, and the huge commitment and the huge training hours that these guys put in, along with their coaches and support staff.
And it's paying off, isn't it? They're going to get confidence from the system because it's working.
Exactly, as they come across the line here, a great row from Angus Widdicombe, Campbell Watts from Australia, as they cross the line. Saw them having pizza last night, getting fueled up for today's racing. No doubt that's helped.
A bit of carbo loading.